What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today a reactions to the classics. It's time for our top 5 album draft of the year 1991, a loaded year with some seminal classics, not only of the decade, but kind of in music history right here. So, gonna be fun to dive into this one today, man. It's been a fun series, and 90s just continuing to ramp up here.
Yeah, man. So if you guys have never joined us before, the way it works, I'm going to pick first today. We trade off every year. Trey picks second, third, and so on until we each pick our top 5. Pay close attention. You're going to have to pick a winner at the end. I think it'll be pretty obvious. I think it'll be close. But yeah, pay attention, boys and girls. So let's kick this thing off, Trey. My number one pick wasn't that easy. Sometimes my number one pick's not that easy because I look at a year and I go, there's nothing that really deserves to be like number one. This year there were several that did, but I'm going to go with Achtung Baby by U2. I know it's a hot take. I think it's their best studio album.
Yeah, and I like it more than Joshua Tree.
I do too, and I like Joshua Tree a lot, and I like it better than a lot of the earlier stuff. A lot of people like the Unforgettable Fire better.
Boy, taking it way back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But 7th studio album produced by Daniel Lanois, Brian Eno, 18 million copies sold. But I mean, this thing, I went back and listened to it again. I hadn't heard it in a long time. I'm like, man, this thing holds up. One, Mysterious Ways, Until the End of the World, a very underrated song written from the perspective of Judas betraying Jesus.
Right.
So, Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horse is just a fun song. And Ultraviolet is Light Your Way.
That's right. No, man.
Fantastic. And Trey, 99% of the people that are watching this are going, I can't believe you picked that number one because I would have picked your number one.
Dude, that's right, man. I had to rep with the album that one of the more important albums I think you could say in music history. I wouldn't think that that's a hyperbole as we go to
it's not.
Nevermind by Nirvana, of course. Their second record, over 30 million in sales. I think it is one of the most iconic albums of all time, too, whenever you just look at the amount of hits that were on here. And I obviously, wasn't around at the time, but everyone you hear that was around in that 90s period, the MTV videos constantly playing Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Smells Like Teen Spirit. I remember watching that video, like, what is it? I remember the first time I saw it, and those of you that are like, it's just like, what?
Yeah,
what's he saying? What's going on
The
here?
intrigue where, they're overseas on a tour, and then their life just kind of changes.
Story.
They come back, they're in still have a U.S. tour in these smaller venues, and they're just jam-packed because, they're now a cultural phenomenon. Of course, you have Come As You Are, one of my personal favorites, Something in the Way, which is getting a bit of a love since it was featured in the newest Batman movie recently. Lithium, In Bloom. I also enjoy some of the deeper cuts, if you can call a record that has 30 million in sales any deep cuts, but Lounge Act, Drain You. I think Cobain's songwriting spoke to Generation X unlike any other musician of its day, and the simple distorted guitar riffs reflect the angst of the time. So.
And if you watch this channel, why do you go to our live streams? Which I suggest you do. They're on YouTube and Twitch. Check it out below for the info. I'm not a huge Nirvana fan. It's not that I don't think Nirvana is good. I think Nirvana is highly overrated. This album's really good. We did an album review of this, and so the reviews that we did for the albums that are on here, which there's not going to be many, but there's a few. Yeah. They are linked down below. Go check it out. There's a lot of great info on that. Now, Trey, your number 2 pick was what was in running with U2 for me for number 1. I didn't know which one of these two I was going to take.
No, man. Another absolutely one of my top 50 albums of all time, probably right here. We're finishing off the last record by Talk Talk.
Yeah, man.
Laughing Stock.
I was so upset when you chose. I thought I almost got it, man. I knew you were going to take that. I thought I almost got it.
Dude, no, I was like, I got to take this. I got to take this soon, or else it's going off.
Oh, it was going to be gone. Yeah.
Mark Hollis, the lead man behind Talk Talk, crafts these otherworldly soundscapes that range from free jazz to experimental and post rock, and include some of the best instrumental sections of the decade, in my opinion. I think the way what I really like about this album, Dad, is the way each track builds up to
it's a masterpiece.
A climax of sound. Definitely one you want to be listening with good headphones.
Yes.
And also an album that's best played in full, in my opinion. A bit of a spiritual quality, some Christian undertones to this record as well. And, it kind of proves that, Mark Hollis, known for being a perfectionist, and it was well worth the trouble. My favorites are After the Flood and Ascension Day and the cathartic / jazzy New Grass. So those are my first 2 picks, Dad. And I know in the internet circles, you're going to get a lot of love from this next one.
I mean, this freaking year is loaded, man. I went with Loveless, My Bloody Valentine's second studio album. We do have a review of this stuff. This This album blew my mind the first time I heard
yeah.
it. I didn't know if it was in a good way or a bad way. I'm like, this is different. Recorded between February 89 and September 91. So you do the math over 2.5 years. Vocalist and guitarist Kevin Shields leading sessions and experimenting with all kinds of things with the guitar, digital samplers, meticulous production methods. They hired 19 different studios and several engineers during the album's prolonged recording, with its final production cost rumored to have reached £250,000, equivalent to £480,000. Now, and it basically broke the record company.
Yeah.
We have reviewed this up. It's a long story. And basically, Kevin's the only one on here because he kept going back and re-recording the other parts so that because he wanted it absolutely perfect. 11 songs, 48 minutes. You got to listen to it all. Now, you're not going to hear the lyrics in most of it. That's what took me a while. I remember
the idea, yeah.
in the album review, I even graded like the lyrics are like, the vocals are like 20% mixed to the front, but it's just a sonic experiment.
Oh yeah, man! The track on here sometimes is one of my favorites from the '90s. Only Shall. I mean, it's just like you're just washed over with the sound.
Yeah, I didn't even pick any favorites because it's just like it's an album listen. So yeah,
and I think even if it's not your cup of tea, I think it's one of those that every music lover should at least put on once. And hey, you may hate it, but hey, I think it's worth the trouble of going out to listen to. So.
I agree. And you talk about putting on an album once. I had never heard of these guys, really. I mean, maybe I'd heard their name. I've never heard this album. Spiderland by Slint.
Oh, yeah, that's a heavy one, right? A lot of heaviness in the 90s, right?
Man, yeah, well, we've already got second and final studio album. 6 songs, 40 minutes. It's only recorded over 4 days. Brian McMahon, the vocal delivery alternates between spoken word, singing and shouting. It took me a while to get used to. I'm like, the first song's the second song's that way. I'm like, what's going on? Lyrics are presented in a narrative style covering themes and feelings of unease, which it makes you feel as you're listening
definitely
to.
does.
Social anxiety, loneliness, and despair. They broke up right after it came out. Later on, it was considered foundational to the 90s post-rock and math rock movements. And Trey, this is one of those albums where I gave it a high score. It's number 3 on my list. I would never listen to this album again. That's nothing again. I mean, it's picked high for me, but it's just it's heavy.
It falls kind of into that basket for me as well. It's another one that I would recommend people at least check out once.
One time, yeah, I definitely would.
An impressive artistic and musical
But you're not going to
statement.
spin around town jamming to it, or walking around the house with the AirPods in. Probably.
There's a lot of heaviness on this record that just makes you. I think unease is a great word right there. It just ups that anxiety, so to speak. So I really do enjoy both of those picks, Dad. I was going to choose Levelist, but you took it from me. So now I'll go back to another iconic
This
album.
was going to be my next pick.
We have Pearl Jam coming in here with 10. Again, their debut record sold over 13 million copies. Eddie Vedder and company kind of making a huge splash here.
This album's great.
I also love the guitar work by Mike McCready, Stone Gossard as well. And Eddie really bears his soul. You have anthemic, just songs that have been on the radio for 30 plus years now. Jeremy. Black, Alive, Even Flow. Once, I think, is one of the great openers that also kind of cues you into what you're in for. That's what I look for in an opener.
It sets the stage. Yeah, me too.
The first time Eddie, ramps up, once upon a time. Eddie's an easy guy to kind of imitate, and yet
he is.
You don't really hear too many other
Scott
vocals.
Stapp made a career of it.
That's right. Besides Scott Stapp right there. This album's a cornerstone for grunge for a reason. I'm going to assume most people listen to it and probably agree with me. But that's my number 3 pick. And number 4, I'm going to go with another debut album right here. Shout out to my guy, Tom Williams, who suggested this record for me to listen to, and I quite enjoyed it. It's Slow Dives Just for a Day. Again, kind of going to fall into that shoegaze dream pop, which...
Things are changing on this year's list.
Yeah.
Music's changing.
And I'm a big fan of both those genres the more I discover them. Very lush with his layered guitars that you'd expect for the genre. Vocalists Neil Halstead and Rachel Goswell, so you have the male-female dichotomy as you do a lot of times in dream pop. Bring that soft touch that the genre thrives in. The closer Primal is definitely worth checking out, y'all. And Celia's Dream, Spanish Air are also quite stout. So those are my picks. What are you closing out your
closing out with somebody in the same neighborhood as your third pick? Bad Motorfinger, Soundgarden.
Really good record.
Third studio album, Outshined and Rusty Cage are tremendous. Chris's songwriting takes a giant leap on this album. Now, you're going to get into it. We're into it now, man. 12 songs, 57 minutes. But I think Soundgarden and Chris Cornell are my favorite of the quote grunge
Yeah, man,
bands.
they're fantastic. Cornell's voice
is but one of the greatest voices ever, in my opinion. And even if you don't like this kind of music, do not write off how talented Chris was, and just a tragic story. And I'm gonna finish this off with my boys from Georgia.
There you go.
REM, Out of Time, 7th studio album, #1 in the US and UK. They're first in each, which shocked me.
Yeah, no, that's pretty. With how many times they popped up on our list thus far.
Yeah,
and
definitely not one of their best albums, but 5 for me. 18 million sold. Losing My Religion, which is their biggest hit. It's not what you think it's about, but that's for another day. Radio Song is great. However, you got to knock down any album that has shiny, happy people.
Baby.
I absolutely love that song, but guess what? So did Mike and the boys. But still, good enough for my number 5. And your number 5 is a great pick as well, band. I really enjoy.
Dude, yeah, I know the front man to this group's quite polarizing, but hey, man, I've always been a fan of the Smashing Pumpkins. As we go to their debut record, Gish, right here, built on those loud, distorted guitars. The Smashing Pumpkins came out firing on all cylinders, though it doesn't reach the heights of maybe like Siamese Dream, which I really enjoy, or Melancholy. It still is able to show the band early in their career quite psychedelic, more than some might expect, and mixes that with the grungy riffs. Best songs are the first 3 on here. I Am One, Ziva, and the classic Rhinoceros. Cheers to James Iha and Billy Corgan. They're the MVPs on this as well. But that's going to take us now to some honorable mentions right here. Pixies have appeared on a lot of our lists.
They have,
but
their 4th album right here.
Yeah, very underrated. Trompe Le Monde, it just was on the outside. Going a little post-hardcore, Drive Like Jehu. Their self-titled, really good. Ice-T, OG, the original gangster. Long before that, he was on Law and Order.
Way before he ran a 20-plus year career on Law and Order SVU, yes.
I'm a big fan of that. Shout out Ice Cube's Death Certificate as well. A Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory. Also deserves a shout. Crowded House for our friends
in New Zealand and Australia. They're going to love you now.
Woodface. Primal Scream, Screamadelia. Massive Attack's Blue Lines. I know get some love. Mercury Rev's Your Self-Esteem.
Good album too.
And then the super group Temple of a Dog is also came out with their one and only record as well. So wanted to give that. Also Metallica's self-titled, which one of the best-selling albums of the year, deserves a shout as well.
There'll be a lot of people wondering why that wasn't here. But
you're right, man.
It's a loaded year, man.
It's loaded, and with that said, Dad, I guess we want to hear from the people.
We do.
What are your favorites from 1991? And let us know which of us you're choosing as the winner.
That's right, man. And if you'd like to support us in any way, we greatly appreciate it. Check out the Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the end screen. A lot of great perks, or we can react to stuff for you, whatever you'd like. Also, check out our Facebook group and our live streams.
All right, and until next time, y'all. Next week we'll be coming back, 1992.
That's right.
It's still got a lot of iconic records too. I got a feeling REM's going to be making an early appearance.
I think they might be.
But until next time, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.